Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome along to the Rolling Cup podcast. I am your host, the amazing Sniper Beef. How are you today? Hope you're having a very good week. We're recording this live on a Thursday evening. We are deep in the midst of Cheltenham from mine and Devastate's perspective. Devastate's won a lot. I've lost a lot, but the week has gone well. Mass and Evra, how are you to start things off?
I'm very well, thank you. Yourself?
Fantastic. Yes, I'm not too bad, not too bad. Devastate, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. I have had my head in horse racing for the
Not
last
in a horse, not
not
in
in
a
a
horse,
horse,
in
no,
horse racing.
in horse racing for the last 3 days, and it's felt. I'm drained, almost drained by it now. But I've done all my research for tomorrow's races. Got some bets on already, so I'm already up. Fingers crossed we can end the week. Still up. I don't think I'm going to be down, but hopefully we just add to it. But just to give everyone a quick reminder, please like and subscribe to the video. If you're watching this on YouTube, and if you're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of our other podcast platforms, please give us a follow.
Indeed, indeed. And as always, we are going to talk about all things gaming related. We have got the link up happening on July the 5th, is the first day. That's the opening ceremony. So, Mass, how many days away are we?
It's 114 days to go.
114 days to go. Honestly, in a couple of weeks, we'll be at 100, and that 100 days will fly by. So yes, we are a little over 100 days to go to the link up. But yeah, let's crack on with the podcast today. So I'll just fly through what we're going to talk through today. So we're going to talk through the best gaming CPU of all time. We've got a number of updates on Xbox related goodness. A lovely little leak on GTA 6. I'm going to talk through the Halo series on Netflix, and Mass is going to round us off with a game that we're going to potentially or look into play at the link up, and we will reveal all later in the podcast. But let's kick off. Devastate, the best gaming CPU of all time, has been launched or announced,
It
or
is
both.
launched. It is out. You can try to buy it. Um, so those of you who aren't aware, um, AMD had announced three versions of its gaming tier CPU. So that is their X3D variations of their current range of chips. So we've already had the 9800 X3D. That's been out there in the wild for a bit
In the
now.
wild.
In the wild for a bit now. But literally, yesterday we had the 9900 X3D and the 9950 X3D launch. Just to give you the headline specs, I have seen a lot of the tested results as well. So the top line CPU, 16 cores, 32 threads. It's got a boost clock of 5.7 gigahertz with a base of 4.3. But the most important thing, and this is why it's the best gaming CPU, is its L3 cache is 128 meg. So it's actually the same clock speeds as the standard 9950X, but the difference between the standard chip and the gaming X3D chip is that L3 cache, which is 128 megs. And the reason why that is so important, if you can imagine, you have your CPU, and you have, in terms of storage, you have your hard drive, large amounts of storage, but it's slow to get information from your hard drive. You then have your RAM, which we've used for years, which contains all of your files that are needed quickly. But even the connection between the CPU and the RAM is slow. So over the last, well, we've had caches on CPUs for years and years and years now, and that's like rapid access. And these have got 128 megs of cache, which basically means it can process that data while the other data is getting pulled through from the RAM. So that's what makes these, especially in gaming, incredibly powerful chips. So it's important for shaders and all of the other data that's coming through the system for it to be able to control what that output's going to be. So Yes, that has come out. About 660 quid for the CPU. I doubt you'll be able to pick it up. I think you'll probably be looking to close to 720, 30, because I'm sure it's probably been scalped. And then I'll just touch quickly on the 9900. So that is same L3 cache, but it's a 12 core processor rather than 16, 24 thread. And the boost is 5.5 rather than 5.7, although its base clock is 4.2 rather than 4.4 rather than 4.3. So
this is devastating. It's the Ryzen 9 9950X3D, yeah?
yes.
So it's on Amazon. You can get it right now in the UK. And it is available £815.
Yeah, so that's even gone up from what it should be.
Yeah.
So you shouldn't be paying that much for the CPU. It will come down in price. This is essentially day 1, day 2 releases.
Yeah, the 9950X you can get for 550.
Yeah, so that is its MSRP. So I do expect that the X3D to come back down to sort of 660 around that price. Yeah. But yes, been watching all the reviews on it. It is 100% the best gaming CPU in basically every game. I think there's one rogue game that one of the Intel chips actually came out ahead on, which is probably down to single threaded performance rather than multi threaded performance. But no, this is out. If you want the best gaming CPU, 9950 X3D or the 9900 X3D. The thing what's really interesting for me, so you have the 9800 X3D and the 9900 X3D, and there's only I say only, there's about £70 difference in price. And for that £70, getting 4 more cores and 8 more threads seems like a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Absolutely.
It's only like a 15% difference in price in the grand scheme of things. So it's a no-brainer.
The only thing is that your will drop down from 128 megs on your L3 cache to 96. So that's I'm almost like if you're committed to paying 480 quid for your CPU, save up a little bit more and get that the 9900 X3D, because
I think if you think about it pragmatically, if you're buying the top gaming CPU, you're going to be getting a very, very good graphics card to go with it, plus the whole rig. So you're going to be spending comfortably a couple of £1,000 in the grand scheme of things. So 70 quid is nonchalant as it would be.
I agree. The only thing is, I don't think it's been confirmed. So we generally have like the 4 CPUs. So we have the 50 the 9600, the 9700, the 9800, the 9900s. What that 9600 X3D is going to look like when it comes out is going to be really interesting, and I think it's been announced, but I have that usually comes a lot later on down the line.
Yeah, I wonder if it'd be over and above my one, because I've also got the Ryzen 7 7800 X3D, which was the
You've
top
got
one at the time.
the 7700 X3D.
7800.
7800. So yours is 8 cores, 16 threads, 5 gig boost, 2.4 gigs base, 96 megs of L3 cache. So the equivalent of this year's version is same cores, same threads, plus it's yours is 5 gigahertz base boost. This is 5.2. You've got a base of 4.2 base. That's a 4.7. Same L3 cache. So it's probably not worth your upgrade. If you're on the series below, yeah, I think if you're But
running Masons, if you're running Massonevras, then absolutely you need to upgrade.
I mean,
what CPU are you running Massonevra?
Have a look.
Let's get the
you're on an
system up.
i7 3700, I want to say. I think we've had a conversation before.
It's an i7 4770.
Yeah.
So
4770.
running at 3.5 gigahertz.
Yeah, but yours is only 4 cores, 8 threads, I think.
I mean, the 4770, that's 9 years old.
Yeah,
11 years old. 11 years old.
Yeah, no, yeah, because we're on 13. Yeah, we're on the 13 series, aren't we? So yeah, 11 years old.
Mm.
So
but yes,
Massimo has to wind his CPU up every morning when he gets up. Just
it's
to
basically a Casio calculator.
Yeah. But no, that's super exciting. Best gaming CPU of all time. It's obviously what I had last year, but no longer anymore. But yeah, super exciting on that one. Right. Let's touch on the Halo Netflix series. So I've just recently started watching this. So this is I think it's a 9-part series which came out on Paramount back in 2021 and is now available on Netflix, launched this week. I've watched the first 2 episodes. I'm a massive Halo fan of back in the day and still am. I'll be honest, the first episode, I won't spoil it for anyone in terms of what happens. The first episode, I wasn't really blown away, but then the second episode, like the storyline starts to progress a bit. But what Master Chief looks like is unreal. It is absolutely unreal what he looks like in terms of his costume. It is absolutely fantastic. And if you love Master Chief, honestly, I think you'll love it. So yeah, at the moment it gets a 6.5, 7 out of 10 for me thus far. But if you're a Halo fan, definitely go and watch it. It's on Netflix, launched this week. Yes, very good one for me. Right, let's go on to some updates from Xbox. So we've had in the same article on where was it? On where was it? The Verge. So a couple of bits. So the longer term plans with the next Xbox even, is that's going to be launching in 2027. So the Xbox Series X will be likely to be succeeded in 2027. But more importantly, something that we've talked about on this podcast multiple times is a Xbox or Microsoft handheld gaming device, which we've mentioned a couple of times on this podcast. That's actually now planned to potentially launch later this year, which is quite interesting. So it's going to be similar in nature to that of the Lenovo Legion Go S, which we've also talked about on this podcast. And that obviously runs on Valve's Steam OS. But I think this one will probably, and this is what they're saying here, will likely run on Windows itself, on some form of either a what's the word, a lighter version of Windows as it would be. But then it might not. It might be absolutely unbelievable specs and it'll be able to run full Windows on it. But I would probably.
I mean, I would imagine on that surely they would just run a version of Microsoft that they already run on the Xbox consoles already.
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah,
but they're literally saying it would likely run Windows, and you're like, really?
Well, I think the plan for you spoke briefly about the consoles for 2027, and I think they will ultimately that's what Xbox is going to move to. It will be a version essentially of Windows running locally, but with a skin on it, so it works. For Xbox controls and stuff.
Here's something to throw a cat amongst the pigeons. What about if Microsoft launched an Xbox similar to that of a Switch, but then it became the full Xbox at the same time and has the same capability as an Xbox?
Theoretically possible.
Like a powerful hand.
maybe
connect to
not
handheld as
maybe not
well.
necessarily a powerful handheld, but maybe like something which you can dock, but then you can just take away and still play the games. But maybe when you've taken it off the dock, it hasn't obviously got the full processing capability because obviously you need the high-powered CPU and GPU to run the games, etc. But you can still have a decent experience in a handheld version. That would be mind blowing because if you could then compete with Xbox and Switch, I mean, you'd be laughing, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think my only worry would be on something like that. So the reason why, for example, like the Switch can do that is because the Switch games aren't that demanding
Yeah,
graphically.
Yeah,
correct.
they're
Yeah,
terrible.
otherwise,
When I have an Xbox game, they are incredibly graphically demanding games. So if you look at
Forza, Halo,
anything
Grand
like
Theft
that,
Auto,
GTA, the
Grand
new
Theft
GTA
Auto
game.
6. Yeah,
Yeah, Grand Theft
exactly.
Auto 6. Yeah.
Yeah.
It needs a lot
the
of
technology
graphic
that
yeah.
exists within the Switch, zero chance of being able to play a game like that on 240p, let alone on anything readable. So
I mean, the battery just wouldn't last long enough, would it?
Yeah.
It just,
No.
the unit would have to be so heavy.
and also, I think Microsoft as a company will probably go, well, we'll make a handheld and we'll make a console and taking twice as much money.
But that idea of still porting Windows to the living room is something that I got the impression they've wanted to do for years anyway.
Oh, they wanted. I mean, when I was at Microsoft, that's what they were had aspirations to get
Surely.
basically Windows or the Windows experience into the living room because the living room is they call it the heart of the house, which in theory it is, isn't it? So if they can get Windows or a Windows experience onto that central television, as it would be, that's massively one of their goals.
Sure, that's where they always saw it. I'm sure that was a discussion even as far back as the 90s. It may even predate that. So
I mean, it's quite weird, really, if you think about it, that even Apple cracked that before Microsoft did. You got you got the Apple TV boxes. I have an Apple TV, great device, and like Apple was able to launch something with a very scaled down Apple TV OS on it. Like, it seems strange that Microsoft never, when Amazon Fire Sticks were coming out and all of these dongle units and Apple TV, it's like, I wonder where Microsoft never really went to almost creating a cut down Windows integrated system for the living room. But sorry, I completely moved away from the subject there. But
no. But I think it's relevant, isn't it? Because like at the end of the day, the Xbox console is going to be in the heart of the house, as it would be. It's going to be in that main television in the living room, or if it's for the younger person, it's going to be in their bedroom, which is the heart of their lives, as it would be. So, it's completely relevant. Right, moving on. Still staying on the Xbox theme. Devastate Copilot. AI and helping users potentially finish games. So basically, if you're a noob at gaming or a C-tier gamer, shall we say, and you can't quite complete your game, we've had people on the podcast who are C-tier gamers before. Microsoft are potentially looking at incorporating Copilot to help you finish those games.
Yeah, so I've got a quote here from Phil Spencer, who is the president of Xbox Gaming, and he has basically said that Copilot for gaming is an AI-driven sidekick designed to be your personalized gaming companion, helping you to get to your favorite games faster. Not quite sure what they mean by that. Coaching you and improving your skills and connecting you better with your friends and communities. Well, nothing connects friends and communities better than AI does.
I mean, talk about marketing gumph.
It does. As someone who works in marketing, that is absolute marketing. I call it marketing wank speak. It's just like it's saying something and nothing at the same time. I think that ultimately it was an inevitable that you've had Copilot on Windows, Copilot in Office. You've had it in other realms as well for a couple of years now, and that eventually it was going to make its way into gaming. I think for some people it'd be good. Like Vedic, when he's in trouble on Civ 7, is just going to be able to get Copilot to help him out. So I think that ultimately it's a good thing. I'm going to be really interested to see how quickly it gets hacked and cracked, and how everyone's going to try and exploit the hell out of it.
At the same time, if I think back to when I played Halo 2, the campaign, I wouldn't want an AI to help me figure out how to finish the game, because it then takes away the grind and me trying to figure out for myself. But then at the same time, I can see why for some people they'll get really pissed off with it and go, Copilot, what's round this corner that's going to prevent me from doing X, Y, and Z? Is there a better way that I can approach this situation and see what they say? I can see why some people would be agreeable to that. But then for me, definitely not. But I think at the same time, to your point, Devastate, in terms of just being able to like understand a game, like if you're not sure like how like Civ 7 is a classic example. There's so much in there that you need to understand. I think that would definitely help in a game like that, and also like Sins 2. I think that would also help with that, because obviously like the things with like the research trees, I think is super important to the game, would definitely be useful. But like, can you imagine like if we had like Copilot in the link and we all had the ability to have Copilot on Sins 2 and we're playing like an 8-player Sins 2, and imagine if it was one that you can talk to as well. Can you imagine how chaotic that would be?
It'd be a nightmare. There's a point you mentioned in there, Beaver. I think that obviously you don't want, you used to spend your time grinding a game out trying to complete it. But if you think about it, even for years ago, you used to be able to go and buy, like you go in a news agent and there'd be a game, like for a particular game, a walkthrough guide. You go on IGN, there's walkthrough guides for every game known to man. I think that if you're really stuck on a particular thing and you have no idea what to do, that can be a game wrecker for some people. I got to this point and I just couldn't get beyond it. It drove me insane, and they just put the game down and they leave it. And I think that having an element built in to say, it might be nice if I've tried the same thing 10 times and I'm still failing. It's like, why don't you try this? Like, if it's implemented well, it's good.
Let me take it to the nth degree. So let's say it can then start watching your gameplay, and then start. So I'm just thinking League of Legends. So obviously I play League of Legends. I treat myself to one game a day during my lunch hour. I play League of Legends, and let's say it watches every single game I play, and it goes, right, so you play Garen top most of the time in ranked, and it figures out where your faults are and what you could do better, and then it starts giving you almost coaching. Like, you can see like like AI has got that capability to do.
Yep.
It's how they obviously implement it. Obviously it's going to have to be done on Xbox and probably first party games initially, but then they might go, okay, you know what? Anything on the Windows platform will offer the API out, and you can then start playing around with it if you're a developer or a publisher. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
we've come a long way, haven't we, from looking at the back of gaming magazines for hints and tips, or watching Games Master on a Thursday evening for his cheats.
Yeah, but like
the early 90s.
That's completely feasible, isn't it? What that you could do with AI, because with where AI is at the moment, like I'm in the process of coding my own bot that will snipe Pokemon cards for me. And it's really not taking a lot of power. But like, imagine this with a gaming perspective. Like imagine like something really complex, as I said, like Civ 7 that Vedic plays a lot. It will be able to point out all the flaws that he's got, probably, which are 95% of what he does anyway, and then call them out. Obviously, it would just take a long time to call out all the flaws, but imagine being able to it's your co-pilot or on Microsoft Flight Simulator, it is your co-pilot.
Well, do you know what? There's an element that I've just thought of there. Imagine playing chess, right?
Yeah.
And it goes, "What's the most optimum move?" And you just do what the most optimum move every time. You're effectively like going to be one of the best chess players in the world, right?
Well, the
Now,
Grandmaster
what
too.
happens if the other player's playing with AI? You're
Yeah.
then gonna have Microsoft's AI Copilot playing chess against. They could be playing chess against themselves. And so, is there any way possible that can not result in, like
Well, I suppose they would have to.
brokenness?
They'd almost have to code it so that it only learns from your own gameplay, and it's not like it hasn't got like Magnus Carlsen's ability on the back end. It just learns from your own gameplay, and therefore it can only advise you on what you've done and your capability. So if you're a C tier gamer, you're only going to be at a C tier level in terms of knowledge that it can give back to you, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I think that's
Which I
how
think
they
is
had to
fun.
control it. It's quite funny, like so Google has its AI system, and one of the things you can do is you can share your video screen with it. So you can share. And YouTuber called Zigzag, which is one of the biggest GeoGuessr players in the world, he basically got Google's AI to play GeoGuessr, and it's with knowledge of Street View. And so it's basically going, look at this image here. Where are we? And tell me exactly where we are in the world. And it goes, by the looks of this, we're here. And then, then they're playing through it. It's a little bit broken still, but it's like we're going to get to a stage where AI can just play these games flawlessly.
Well, Elon will be happy, won't he?
Yeah. He hasn't got to employ the people in East Asia anymore.
Just because if you're playing like an MMORPG, and you're just going to get your bot to do all your grinding for you, essentially, and then you'll say, "Well, my character's now level 80, but I didn't do anything for it. I've only paid a month's subscription so far, and I've already completed the game." So
I mean, it's going to make it's going to come to a point where it's like, what is the actual even point of playing the game?
But yeah, I get that, but there's like most of us, we play games for enjoyment. We don't go, right, I'm going to play Sins of a Solar Empire because I want to complete it, or I want to complete the story mode or whatever. Unless it's something like Indiana Jones. But like I play League of Legends because I enjoy it and I want to try and get to Emerald or Platinum this year. Like it's a challenge for me because obviously at our age my gaming prowess is nowhere near. But
yeah, you wouldn't have, if you're using the bot, you haven't earned it.
Exactly.
You've got the prestige, but then you sort of like go, well, I didn't actually do anything to sort of to deserve it.
And then one final piece of that, which no one's flagged up, is I wonder how well this will work, and it potentially game changing for people with disabilities.
Massive.
You're going to be able to sort of use it to help disabilities in gaming. So if you have limited movements of body parts, that means you can't control stuff properly. Eventually, where AI gets to sort of an understanding of like almost, can you control can you just press go forward, and it actually controls like the movement, and you just control looking around maybe, or something along those lines. I think that it potentially for that sort of ilk, I think it's going to have some absolute wonders.
No, I definitely agree. And then, I mean, I presume it's going to be free. You'd like to think it's probably going to be free as a part of the Xbox platform, as it would be. So,
yeah, it's definitely going to be part of the window. Well, it's part of Windows already, and obviously you've got the Xbox app that can go into Windows. So, I think that's where it will be sort of demoed and feature tested. But I wouldn't expect that to roll out onto actual Xbox consoles probably until 2027 when the new consoles come out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right, penultimate piece. Let's talk about an actual leak on the GTA 6 price. Where did this occur?
Yeah, so we've actually dropped. Regular listeners and viewers of this podcast will know we have dropped some absolute knowledge very early on this podcast, from Xbox handheld gaming consoles, but primarily we have dropped so much knowledge on GTA 6. We were one of the first to bring out release windows, the actual date we were told of. Everyone said, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." Well, it sounds like we do, because what we were adamant about was how much this game is going to cost. And we said, in fact, no, I was very vocal, and I said that this game is going to be £100 game, or £99.
Yeah, it's going to be the most expensive game that any of us have ever
Most
bought.
expensive base game, yeah.
Yeah, as I say, base game, with the exception of like legendary editions or whatever. Base game, absolutely.
Yes. So, what ended up happening that this week, there was a retailer in Switzerland who accidentally published the listing with the price.
That's awkward, isn't it?
Yeah, and then basically it went a little bit viral. But the price of it basically was equivalent to $112 or 99 of their local currency, which works out to $112. The regional pricing that we see on most things is that they sort of seem to have a dollar value in the US, and then it'll be almost the same in the UK, but the pounds say, so it's $99, it'll be £99, and it's sort of all the same across the rest of the world. This was 99 Swiss francs, which works out to $112. So everyone's got a little bit up in arms about it, but that's about right. It's about what we predicted. We almost said it had to be that price in order for them to get their money back in a very quick time frame. There was no way this game's going to be $70. Not zero chances.
And at the same time, we don't
price it at that. I mean, they know they can price it at £100. They could probably price it even more than that, and they know people will buy it anyway. So
yeah,
but that's the thing. Like, none of us want it to be that price. We don't want to be paying £100 for a game. Like, we want it to be a $39.99 game.
Yeah, I want it to be free.
What, 100%? Yeah.
Yeah. But I understand business. I understand if you spent $2 billion, that
you want a return.
Yeah, and there's you've only got a finite amount of people that have either got a PC that's powerful enough to use it, or an Xbox Series X, or a PlayStation 5.
So they've got to sell 20 million copies to get their money back.
Yeah, get their money back.
Get their money back.
Now, are they going to sell 20 million copies? Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you, as I'm talking,
they'll probably do that just in the UK.
Well, no, because even if you think about it, how many PS5s? So PS5 sold, so 75 million PS5 sold worldwide, and Xbox Series X. So let's say 30 million. So you've got 100 million consoles.
That fifth of them have got to buy it.
Yeah,
because Grand Theft Auto 5 that sold 210 million copies. That game. That's the second highest selling game of all time, just second to Minecraft, which sold 300 million copies.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll give them 21 billion in revenue. So that'll be a profit of 19 billion.
Yeah. Now, don't forget, like with all of this stuff, is that's their development cost to date, but you've got to take into account marketing, resellers' fees. A lot of this is going to be distributed via Xbox and Sony. They take a cut of all of that as well. Yeah, tax that will have to be paid. Steam, when it comes to PC, Steam take 30%. So
is it 30%?
Yeah,
that is filthy.
I think 30%. Yeah,
that's disgusting. But it's the price that it's the price we thought it would be,
Yeah.
and that we've talked about on this podcast for many a time since we first got wind of when the rough time window might be. We've talked about GTA 6 at length on this podcast, and we've always said it's going to be a premium price. It's going to be in the upper echelons of the high teens, the 80s, the 90s, maybe even £100. And the fact that it's been potentially leaked, and if this leak is legit, which it looks like it is, it's going to be £100. People are gonna buy it. People will buy it because it's going to be that good.
Yeah. And
Just
I
look
think
at the map size. Look at the map size compared to GTA 6.
like
Look
3.5
at the
times
size
the
of the
size.
map.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Grand
you
Theft-
like
Grand Theft Auto
I
40.
remembered every single road on GTA 6 quite comfortably. Like
On 5.
Sorry, 5. Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
Like it's going to take a long time to learn GTA 6, all the roads, etc.
Yeah.
On the new one. So, yeah.
I've got one positive out of the digital download space. Is thank God that is the preferred route to buy games now. Because if we were relying on digital media, knowing what scalpers do with PC hardware, think how badly this game would get scalped.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I mean,
it'd be like Pokemon now. Like it'd be probably worse than what Pokemon is now.
Oh yeah.
So Pokemon now, people are buying stuff, and it's 5-6x the price that it is at retail. GTA 6, like if you buy it for £100, they'd probably be selling it for £1,000 because you wouldn't be able to get it. But the fact that it's digital download, I think, is a godsend at the end of the day. But pray for your hard drive space. Is all I'm saying when that comes out.
It might actually require, even my machine that's only 4 years old, I might have to buy a whole additional hard drive just for GTA 2.
Well, I've got 4 terabytes, so I should be all right.
You'll be fine. This could be. I mean, that's actually a really good point, because they're going to have to make it so what the
consoles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well, it's going to be a smaller download on the consoles, isn't it, than it will be on PC, purely from a graphics perspective. So you think on PC it's probably going to be half a terabyte, isn't it, on PC?
Yeah. So the
PS5's hard drive is only what 2 gigabyte. Sorry, no, that's RAM. Forgive. The base unit only has 825 gigabytes.
Yes, it's a 1 terabyte hard drive with the OS on it, so you get 825 free.
Yeah, so the Series S is 500 gig.
Most of that.
I actually think that this could be a 500 gig game.
Yeah.
Plus requiring constant internet access, so that what it can't fit on the drive, it can render it natively in the cloud.
Yeah. All right. No, super exciting. We're obviously going to get more and more definitive stuff on GTA 6 as the time goes on, because we're probably realistically only about 6 months away from when it releases. 6-7 months or so. So yeah, we'll keep you posted on that. But on to our final port of call for this week's podcast, where at the end of each podcast we go through a game which we have been either recommended or spoken to about that we could potentially play at the link up. And Mass is going to take us through that this week. So Mass, what game have we got this week?
Yeah, so we're a bit dry on first-person shooters, because we now know that X-Defiant won't be available for this year's link, as its servers are shutting down in June. So this game is Intruder. This is from the developer and publisher Superboss Games. It's available on Steam. It's in early access, but it is on a sale of half price actually at the moment, only £7.74. So it's a ultimate spy versus guard simulator. Carefully sneak your way to the objective as intruders, or use the wide variety of tactical gadgets to trap your opponents as guards. Intruder allows for stealth, teamwork, and environmental interactions never before seen in a multiplayer game. So it's 5v5. There is obviously quite a large element of like stealth. So it's not going to be sort of perhaps the sort of paced game that you'd get from like Counter-Strike or X-Defiant.
Does this not look like Counter-Strike, but just a little bit updated, or is it me?
I think this is more like Rainbow Six, surely.
I don't think it will be as fast paced. I think there's I think it's a slower game. I think it is the emphasis more is on the stealth element of the game. The
Like a cross
game
between the
it's
two, isn't it? There's a cross between like Rainbow Six and thingy.
it's got pretty good reviews, but bear in mind as well, it is actually quite an old game, so it has been in early access now for what would be 6 years this month. So
6 years in early access.
These
indeed,
Jesus, what are these developers doing?
well,
well,
have,
that's
have they given up?
yeah, well, that's the one thing I would say is that Steam were on the process of doing that updated thing of the last time this game had a like a code commit given to it. It doesn't seem to be on this. I'd be interested to see on their social media channel. It says join their Discord. It says join their Discord, and it doesn't even link anywhere.
I mean, it does actually say that it was only supposed to be in early access for up to 2 years, so that is now 4 years delayed. It does actually as well. Steam puts it down as a game similar that you've played, Rainbow Six Siege, and then PUBG Battlegrounds. Though I still think it looks closer to a. It reminds me maybe more of a SWAT 4 sort of that kind of pace.
That's SWAT 4. Not Rainbow Six. Yeah, SWAT 4. That's
And
what I would say it is.
There's puzzles as well involved when you're trying to pick the locks of the doors or cracking codes as well. So yeah, that's it's relatively modest price at the moment.
Yeah, it's a decent price. I mean,
but,
£7.50 or something.
and the
at the
reviews
moment.
are they're very good.
positive.
It's
Yeah,
just
5,000, very positive.
it's just unfortunate that perhaps it just hasn't come out of that early access
Wow.
situation. But
The beauty of Steam, 2 hours of play. If we like it, we like it. We keep it. If we don't, we don't. We get a refund.
indeed.
Exactly, and we should tag the developer and publisher, which is Superboss Games, in the description below.
I mean,
so if
I'm
they
not
want...
going to lie. The chances of them even
That's
working, when they still exist, is incredibly
Yeah,
slim.
they've
I
only got
wonder
one.
how
They've only
long.
got...
I wonder how long it's been on 50% off for.
Yeah, they've only got one. They've only got one game on Steam, which is Intruder.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think we'll wrap things up there. Thank you all for listening. If you're still listening, we really appreciate you. Make sure you drop a like and a subscribe on the YouTube channel or wherever you are listening. We'll be back next week with some more good content. Have I missed anything else? Have we got anything else to cover, or are we good?
Remember, like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah, indeed. Well, until next time, I've been Beef the Legend.
I've been Devastating.
And I've been Masanifri, Tofu.
Catch you later, peeps. Goodbye.
Yes, yes.